Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Group A is complete here at ESL One Katowice on day number 3. The group stage is coming to their end and their close and deciding the men from the boys. Who's going through to the bracket, who's going home, who's going to the upper, who's going to the lower. All those decisions are going to be decided in the next couple of hours as we head into Group B. And we've got a cracking game for you here on the main stream. These next two teams, do or die, both at 3 and 5 right now. Both having written their chances off earlier in the tournament, have bounced back with some super wins and are now just 2 games away from making it to the brackets. Which one goes through? That's the big question we've got for our panel. But before we get there, why don't we get some words from a member of the compLexity family who's alongside Shiva right now.
Thanks, Paul. Here with Zivrik indeed. Before your match, how are you doing? Had a good rest? How's the team doing?
I didn't sleep well at all. Just tried to go to bed earlier because we're playing earlier today. Didn't really work. I think the team is good though.
Yeah, is that, you feel like that's gonna affect your play, or you're good anyway? When the game's on, you're on.
I don't know, caffeine.
That always works for me as well. That is definitely true. So how has the team been doing? How do you feel about you guys' performance so far? Is it an upline for you guys?
I think we're definitely playing better here than we were in our previous events online. I think we've actually started to learn again. I think we kind of went downhill when we took a break over the Christmas season, but I think we're kind of coming back now, and every day feels better.
That's a good start. Now, you have had a lot of tied games in your series, more than most other teams actually, which is kind of curious for me as to why do you feel that is?
I'm really sure. I think our drafts affect our play a lot. Like, there are definitely drafts where we're more comfortable performing, and there are drafts where we've almost got it and then we lose. So we lose games that we probably wouldn't if we were better. But then there's the easy execution drafts, and they work.
And do you have some easy execution drafts planned for versus Aster today?
No, the hard stuff only. Only skill shots, micro heroes, you know? Yeah. Yeah, expect Chen and Ench on the same team.
I would love to see it, actually. I'm not sure if it would be good for you guys today. Do you have anything like specifically planned? Do you normally plan for the team you're playing, or do you actually just focus on what you're doing? Definitely
the team we're playing, but normally it's only to the point of like, what are we banning and like what's their laning style, and then, you know, wards. But yeah, that is basically your section with the supports anyway, right? Me and Adam over there. Is that something that you feel like doesn't get highlighted enough? Because personally, you know it happens, and as a support you see other people do it, but maybe, you know, on panels it's not often talked about. I think if you haven't played support, you don't really pay any attention to like hey, that team just warded in the vision of the other team and they didn't notice, and things like that are really bad. So you notice that more. So you basically are playing Dota 2, and then you're playing a sub game, the warding game. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot. Okay, that's got to be added there, because otherwise you're probably in the wrong role. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing 4, so I don't buy wards anymore, but I still try and pay attention to help out. I mean, I would imagine that's just in your routine. Can't get it out. Yeah, it's never going away. No. I'm gonna wish you good luck for your series, because you're about to head in. So have fun, good luck, and hopefully talk to you again after the series. Alrighty. All right, thanks. Back to you, Paul.
Zivrik there with Shiva. Thank you very much, Shiva. compLexity versus Aster is our first matchup. We've got the perfect panel for it, really. A former coach and a former player of compLexity. No bias here whatsoever on the panel, gents. No. Actually, I feel like, and I could be wrong, Carl, but you can tell me that I'm wrong. I feel like every time we talk about compLexity and we're on a panel together, you're actually harsher on compLexity. Oh. Than Pratt. But there's kind of, because it's your brother and you don't want to appear biased, so then maybe you're more critical of them.
No, I think that compLexity losses probably just disappoint me more than other teams. Yeah,
so I get more,
you can definitely more emotionally invested, and then thus frustrated, because it's just like,
I saw you in the green yesterday. Limp died, and you were like, "Don't buy back! Don't buy! He's bought back! He's bought it!" You're so frustrated.
And then he
kind of,
that will never change.
You could read what was going to happen, and then it played out, and then you're almost disappointed because you were right.
It's more like he's made that mistake in how many games that Kyle captained, and so it's like PTSD in that way.
Joking aside, have you spoken to your brother this morning? Had a chance?
Yeah, so good luck.
Is he right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He No, I said good job. He obviously played a pretty good game on Phoenix yesterday against
Fantastic
Fnatic.
game.
Yeah, puts him in a position now where I believe Cole, their Nutzstadl score, whatever it is, they win the tiebreaker.
Yes.
So all they need to do is win the one game
1-1.
versus
Yep.
Aster, and that's all because they were able to take that off Fnatic earlier. So they're feeling good. Aster, though, a bit of a resurgence yesterday. They 2-0'd Alliance.
Yep.
Definitely looking a lot better than the... I mean, the first day was kind of embarrassing, to put it frankly.
Yeah, no, it was. We talk about how bad FTD looked in the first day, but in a lot of ways, Aster looked just as bad.
Yes.
These are really, to me, two of the more interesting team narratives in the tournament, because in complexity, you had a team that came in with obvious struggles, has won these two ridiculous comeback games against the best two teams in their group. And you've got Aster that look completely dead in the water. And then they come back against NIP with 4 melee heroes and Bobaca support Batrider, and they win the game in 40 minutes.
Yeah. With a Sven.
Yeah,
the only team to do it.
That's the only
in
Sven
12
win, right?
12 games
up to that point.
It's one with a Sven.
Wow. Man,
Quite.
did they nerf him that bad? Like, what's wrong with
Like,
Sven?
I don't. It's just overpicked.
It did get nerfed. But
like so many teams went in with a default, like, oh, first phase Sven is going to be our default.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been figured out, I think, amongst the teams as well, isn't it? So let's move on. Team Aster. We've spoken about complexity's troubles. Aster, obviously, you mentioned day one, but they have bounced back, Kyle. There's something about them still. They're still alive.
They should. Their potential on paper. Like, just Sylar's their carry. XXS, the off lane.
Right.
Mushi's mid. Well, debatable whether that's good or bad. The point is, big names come with big expectations. It's similar to, I think, forward gaming in a lot of ways, where it's a highly touted roster, very expensive. You know, these teams are not cheap when you've got the level of fame that they do, and it puts a lot of pressure on the individuals because you expect results. But the problem is a lot of players have learned over time, is that you can't just have these big names. You can't just be good and win. It takes work, no matter what level of Dota you're at. And Aster definitely looks a little shell-shocked, but they have regained a little bit of that momentum. New roster. Didn't Mushi like just come on board?
Yes. Yeah, they replaced Love You Love Me with Mushi right before this tournament. And I think when you're talking about these big names, it was Cap. We talked about this in a panel a little earlier. It was Cap that really kind of brought home to me when I'm looking at Sylar was good last year. Okay, so let's take him out of the discussion. We both, I think, still think he's a sick player. All right, but you look at XXS and Bobaca, and it was Cap that finally brought home to me that when I'm saying those names, I'm thinking of the players that they were 1 or 2 seasons ago, not the players that we've seen in Bobaca's case for 2 years. We have not seen Bobaca play at that elite level, and in particular, he's had some big holes. His Earth Spirit play has really been a problem for this team. There's a reason that they're 0-6 on that hero over the last 2 patches.
Okay, well, they do have big name players. One of those big name players, of course, is Mushi, and he's come in with his fair set of criticism so far this season, but he's found himself on a new team. Let's hear from him now. He's with Shiva.
Thanks, Paul. Mushi, you've only recently joined Aster. How's it going? How do you feel in the team? How is the mood?
The team mood actually pretty good, and I'm not officially joined Aster yet. Okay.
Yet, you say, though.
Yeah, it's just like we just play for a few days together and then we come to the LAN.
Yeah, that is pretty abrupt because you guys, like with this 5 squad, haven't really had any time to really practice. How do you feel like it's been going over the last few days?
For me, this tournament, the aim is like for practice to improve. It's not for the win. Yeah, because we're really lagging of practice time.
And how is the practice going? Are you happy with how it's going? Are you like, how do you see the progression of your team?
The first day was very tough. I think after that we fixed something and then it's getting better. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, of course, your last series is against compLexity. How have you and your team prepared for this series?
We just try to do our best, and no matter what's the result, and we're still happy with it.
Did you focus on compLexity themselves, or are you more focused towards improving as a squad?
I think both.
You both?
Yeah, I do a lot of research on the enemy. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I look forward to seeing you guys play again, and I wish you good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Back to you, Paul.
There we go, yes. Another great interview from Shira. Thank you very much. Mushi obviously recently joined. He mentioned that they had that disastrous first day, Alan, and when you look back, you just go, that 4-0 on the first day was tough. They bounced back. We've talked about the fact that compLexity took off a point off NIP and a point from Fnatic. But yeah, Aster's return also started with a point against NIP.
Against NIP.
So there is something to suggest that these two might be quite closely matched.
Yeah, and even if you look at the individual play from the guy we just saw in that interview, I like where I've seen him going. Because he's always been, if you talk to people that have played with him and people that have worked with him, he's always been a cerebral player, a guy that prepares a lot for the opponent. But he's also, in some ways, slower to adapt. He was the guy that was insisted on building Lincoln's Manta on Medusa in every game. He's changed that up now. I feel like he's capable of playing, or more comfortable, I should say, playing at a faster pace now relative to before.
I would say it's a combination of being a bit obstinate and also then taking poor ideas and running with them for a lot longer than other teams would. You know, I look, you know, not to throw NFL analogies into this, but watch the Super Bowl, all right? You can see that, you know, you could drastically change a game plan and catch people completely off guard. This happens in Dota all the time. Mushi, my big criticism for him over the years was he would just stick with these old ideas and just keep going with this same cookie cutter that's already been solved and defeated.
Hey, not to get overly philosophical here, but the old saying is success breeds success, but success can also be an obstacle. It can be harder when you're a player of his stature and you're saying, I have had success over so many years with this approach, and now you're telling me that I need to go away from this. Yeah. It can be a little bit jarring.
I think there's an idea, and a lot of players, like, you see it come in waves with people, but players get to a certain stature or level of success and then feel like they're entitled to that. They're owed that. And all that they need to do now is show up, and you'll continue to reap the rewards of being top tier. But Dota is just not a game you can take breaks from. Dota's not a game that you can be lackadaisical for even a week or two. It's like Z-Freak said, right? Zach's talking about how he felt like their 2-week Christmas break.
Yeah.
They're finally getting over it.
She's a harsh mistress, man.
You need at the bare minimum, like, so compLexity wasn't very good before Christmas, but then you take 2 weeks off. My rule is you need at least those 2 weeks of practice to get back to where you were before you took the break. Bear in mind, Adam hadn't been able to, visa issues. They haven't really been able to play as a unit in one house, and there's nothing worse. I've been part of it before. Being 4 players in a house or in an environment, and one guy is like across the ocean. It's so frustrating because you can't have those conversations without having to then fill in this guy who wasn't there. It's just very taxing.
Mushi also said during that interview that this is practice. Which is fair enough. I mean, you know, each to their own. If that's what it is, that's what it is. But he also said he hadn't signed yet.
Yeah.
So
I think
is he signing? Isn't he signing? Is this a trial? Is it a test? Because
of course.
Because in my mind, if it's like, well, if this is practice and he hasn't signed yet, is this a test for him then?
Every game's practice. Every game's a trial. I mean, look, when you're talking about the Dota season and you're talking about the fact you have one tournament in the year that is 200 to 300% of all the other prize pools combined.
I don't buy it.
Every tournament is gearing up to that.
I don't buy it. Every player goes to a tournament, wants to win a tournament.
Yeah, but they want to win that tournament to make them better for TI.
Yes, they want to win that tournament in such a way that's going to make them better.
We've gone down a rabbit hole that was not my intention. The intention is he hasn't signed yet, and they're using this as a practice.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Every other team is using this tournament as a device to evaluate their players as well.
No. Again, missed the point. He hasn't signed yet.
Okay.
How are they using it as practice if he hasn't signed?
Because it's, what do you mean?
So it's
this
a test.
The team.
Look, no, it's a test for him.
No, it's for both. It's Dota 2, especially as a captain or team builder, requires a bit of doublethink, right?
Yes.
You got to hold 2 different opposing ideas in your head at the same time. On one hand, this team I've had for 6 hours, we're going to win TI. But on the other hand, is my team good enough to win TI? Which players are good enough to win TI? Who would be available that would be an upgrade? What can I do to make my team the best it can be for TI? So simultaneously, this is the squad, but also no one's job is secure. Especially if you're a team like Aster, you don't have any real DPC points.
Yeah.
There's no roster penalty for being a team with no points that swaps roster. You're losing a percentage of nothing. Who cares if you drop the whole team and come back, you go from 40 points to 8, whatever.
And by the way, speaking of rabbit holes that we really shouldn't go down, part of the reason that I'm making that point is because I think you're going to see a roster shuffle before TI this year of...
It's going to be huge.
Stupid proportions.
Because...
everybody is evaluating everybody else.
Here's the thing, and I'm waiting for this, and I'm going to say it now because it will happen, and someone's going to get screwed. But right now, the way the tournament system functions, open qualifiers go on during the major. Someone's getting screwed because they'll get kicked from a team post-major. It'll be the 4th major, the 5th major. They won't even have a chance to play to earn a spot at TI.
Again, and
guaranteed.
Let's
you
get back
kicked
on
off
track
from a team that's getting invited to TI. Open qualifiers.
Let's get back on track, but how about the fact that VP last year could have dropped 4 out of their 5 players a month before TI and been okay?
Yeah, but as you said just before, the goal of the day is to win TI.
To win.
So you're not selling spots to fans.
They wouldn't have done it, but to me, that is indicative potentially of a problem with the system.
I mean,
anyway.
look, the majors overrun the open qualifiers for the next major. If that's not indicative of a problem, what is?
Agreed.
That's where's the competitive integrity?
Well, we're getting we're getting ourselves in so much trouble here. I love it.
Care to elaborate?
And Paul is just like, no.
I'm just enjoying it. I'm just sat over here, just letting you guys riff. I'm
you
fine
are the
with it.
proverbial feeding us the rope.
No. Look,
I love you, Paul.
I'm the traffic cop here as well. I have to save you when things go, a little bit sideways, and we're fine, right?
Push us out in front of a bus.
Nowhere near. No. We're nowhere near the bus right now. We're way ahead of the bus. We're all good. Feel free to carry on.
Okay, well, let's.
I mean, we haven't got a draft to look at, so.
That's true.
All right.
We can move off. So away from that topic, I don't know. Good focus on complexity.
Yep.
They're in one of those weird spots, and again, not to use traditional sports analogies, but there's this Sam Hinkie philosophy. Okay, he revolutionized the 76ers.
Too specific.
Because they lost. They weren't mediocre.
Hold on.
Right?
I know where he's going.
They weren't.
Kyle,
You're
for the
way too
Europeans,
specific.
clarify, are we
Sure.
NFL or NBA now?
It's NBA.
Right.
NBA,
So look,
yeah.
the way NBA works is the worst teams have a much higher percentage chance of getting the overall first pick, right?
Right.
If you stay mediocre, you never get the top of the pool, but you're not making runs
You actually want to be
through the
completely
tournaments.
shit one season.
Exactly.
At least one season.
And
I
certain
love
teams,
where you're going.
Certain teams, I think Aster and Cole are both kind of in this area where they're mediocre.
We don't have drafts, though.
What?
We don't have drafts.
What are you? What are you talking about?
Guys.
I'm making a good point here. Relax, Paul. You're in a position. Oh, shut up! I know where you're going.
No, go ahead.
You
please.
meant
Yeah.
So, you can't.
You really are giving him rope.
If you're mediocre, okay, you're on that hem and haw where it's like, well, our team, we have potential,
Yes.
But we're not winning tournaments.
Yes.
So you're like, oh, well, we'll get better.
Yes.
Whereas if you were just shit, it'd be easy to say, okay, well, who's good? These 2 guys. All right, let's rebuild.
Hold on. But if you're shit, right?
Yes.
Then everything's better. So just get anyone other than the people.
No,
you've got.
but there's certain players that are free agents right now that will be on teams, I think, as the year progresses.
Yeah, that'll be a factor.
Look at like CCNC,
Yeah.
right? Still doesn't have a team for some reason.
Right.
He's a good mid player.
Yeah.
For all that everybody likes
Yeah.
to meme about that guy,
He'll find
there's
a good
reason EG
top
uses him as a
25
stand-in.
team,
Okay?
right?
He might not ever be on the level with no one. He might lose lanes, okay? But he's going to have the understanding as a professional of how do I win games? What's my win condition? What sort of heroes are strong in this patch? What kind of matchups would I like to abuse? And that's something that people will look to once they realize, like, hey, maybe this new guy we've picked up just isn't working out. And that'll be, again, interesting to see as the season develops. What happens after this 3rd, 4th major?
When you're Kuro, you can go out and get a 9K player in Matumbaman and ask him to play that sacrificial role, okay? Not everybody can do that. Most teams are going to have to pick 1 or 2 elite world-class players to build around and plug in guys that are good at what they do. And the thing is, CCNC, for all people like to meme about him, is good at what he does. He's a good enough player to win games at TI. We saw that last year.
For those of you at home who are wondering why we're talking about NBA and all sorts of other stuff, it's because we currently can't see the draft here at ESL One Katowice. Hopefully you can at home, so we'll just carry on rabbiting over the top of it. We're a little bit behind, actually. I can tell you what the bans have been.
Oh, what?
Nothing exciting.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh. Okay, but do we know whether Cole has first pick Phoenix again?
We don't. But
Okay,
Cole
'cause that's gonna be my big thing.
banned Razor.
Yeah, I expect
Yeah, that's
Aster
super good.
10th picked it in their previous games to win.
Yeah, and Gambit absolutely crushed with 2 10th picks Razors. I don't know that they're 10th pick. They were definitely 5th pick for them yesterday.
Cole have opened with tiny profit.
Oh,
Typical.
yeah.
That sounds like
baby.
vintage complexity. That's
does.
been the strat since...
That's a Kyle draft.
That's like 1 month into the year. We're like, oh, what do we pick? There's some very similar to Han heroes, and they simplify the game. Need initiation, Tiny can stun combo, toss somebody back. You need to push out side lanes. Prophet's got a global TP. You've got minions to objective pressure. It's just a really easy building block of a
And
draft.
it looks like the response for Aster was a first phase Titan.
Yes, they've gone Elder Titan and Shaman. And they've also, I'm going to predict they're going to go with
they can see it on the screen, by the way. We just don't have it on the preview
I'm trolling you guys now. Yeah. I'm going to predict a Centaur. That's their third pick.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the Prophet is quite
I think
nice.
you've trolled us quite enough in one panel. It's like, but Paul, thank you. I'm sorry, go, Kyle.
The Prophet's really nice against ET Shaman because they both deal with creeps fairly poorly. So you can run them over in lanes. Shaman needs 6 to really be able to do anything on map, so you can hopefully take a couple tier 1s, accelerate the game state, try and get 2 tier 1s down by 10, 12 minutes.
No, I'm glad. So I'm almost glad that we didn't have to analyze the Phoenix first overall pick because I know you and I agree on that, disagree on that. I think we agree on this in that there's a reason that the Prophet was the 4th overall pick here. I think it's an excellent, with the tiny open, which is very, very flexible, I think the Prophet is an excellent response to the Elder Titan Shadow Shaman on board.
We've got a Dazzle 3rd pick for compLexity.
Yep, really, really good
for Aster.
Against the Centaur. You just crush him in the laning phase. TB, interesting. I think that
I'm comfortable with that. I'm actually comfortable with that.
If I have Sylar on my team, I want to give him a hyper carry and ensure he's the one that has control over my game.
Well, number one, the thing about TB and the reason why he's still relevant after being nerfed umpteen million times, not only is he a hyper carry scaling into the late game, but he's also a carry in the mid game that he's going to eat towers. You can win a fight, and he's going to be able to eat that tower as long as meta is still active, even occasionally when it's not.
Yeah, so just to recap for us here, we've got an ET Shaman, Centaur, TB for Aster, Cole have gone for Tiny Prophet, Dazzle just waiting for their 4th pick now. Their bans, their second phase bans actually for compLexity, Bat and Ember.
Okay.
I like both those choices. It just makes Prophet impossible to play.
Yeah, and let's just take away this wrinkle that we saw from the. We've only seen it twice over the last 2 patches. Yesterday being one of them. But let's take away this whole Bobaca support Bat Rider thing.
Yep.
You know, we don't want to have to play against it.
Aster I've only made 1 ban on my screen so far, which is the Lone Druid. That was after banning Phoenix, Enigma, and Lifestealer, by the way, in the opening.
The Enigma was key. Miracle has been playing Lifestealer just every single game, but more importantly, compLexity has taken 2 games out of the 3 they've won at this tournament with Enigma. They have not lost with the hero. So it's definitely something you've got to take away from them.
I don't, am I misreading this? I'm going to blow your mind here a little bit. We've already, by the way, the hero variety here has been outstanding. We had 94 heroes picked and banned over the first 2 days compared to only 89 at all of CQ. This is, if I'm reading this right, this is the first Terrorblade pick.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, huh. Yeah. Wow.
Thank God.
Really?
I'm so over that hero, man.
Okay, fair
There's
enough.
so many mechanics that are just, it's one of those heroes that no matter what you nerf, it'll always have things that are good. It swaps health. Like, thank God you can at least BKB to prevent it now. I was waiting for that change for like 6 months.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concepts in Dota. These heroes get tweaked to a point where it's just like, well, you can pick them anytime. And
yeah,
I actually think Leshrac is an example of a hero that is it's never a bad game. You can never really counter a Leshrac because he can kill your buildings, he has a stun, and massive amounts of AoE damage, as well as the ability to pick up super cheap items that are mega value. Like,
however,
never bad.
You know, we do have the draft back on our screen at this point now, and compLexity are going to go ahead and pick one of the classic counters to the TB and the Timbersaw. Great.
I love Timbersaw here, really. It's very effective. It's the Terrorblade counter because you're a natural Lotus Sword buyer. You crush Centaur. You have tons of armor that you're low base armor, but you get so much from the stacks.
I mean, look, we don't have to argue about the whole Phoenix first pick thing, but doesn't it feel to you like opening with Tiny here, it just makes your whole draft easy?
Well, yeah, you have Limp, of course.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, what is that? Yeah.
Fair enough. That's personnel. You know, you have Limp and Z-Freak, right?
Yeah.
Zach plays the 6 support.
I'm so glad you're here on panel just to point out stuff like that.
Well, but come on, man.
He's been a master of this hero for literally 6 years over 2 games. Yeah. When you're compLexity and you have Limp, you pick Tiny. It's like the only player hero, the only person I think you can validate picking this hero knowing it's most likely a core. It's just because he's so good on Tiny.
Okay, but at the same time,
they
haven't been picking the hero that much.
I heard a Morphling.
Do you want to have some fun with that last pick? Because if there's a good counter for TB, it's Timber, but there's another good counter for TB, and they've picked it.
The only concern is that you're playing against an Elder Titan and a ton of disable. So if Miracle falls off, like, ET walks up to you, it doesn't, like, all Morph is base armor. It's a very risky pick, and
I actually think the Morphling pick there is, it makes your draft a little bit more volatile than necessary.
Do you, I bet you they go something crazy like Quap now on Aster.
Husker.
You've got the perfect, you've got Mushi. Quap is like one of my favorite heroes that he plays because he actually allows him to get aggressive.
Whoa! Oh my God!
Did everyone hear the? I heard the sound effect.
Yeah, it's Reapers. Yeah, it's Necrophos. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know about that.
Pretty.
It's actually disgusting.
It's like the counter to TB.
It gives you finishing power. Finishing power is what you need against these heroes like the Tiny, the Timber, the Morph that were so often in fights you can get them low, but you can't finish the deal.
Thinking about it, especially with the synergy, you already have plenty of disable just thanks to your Rasta, to your Centaur. You got ET Stomp, ET Spirit, removing all the magic armor from a Timber Saw with a Scythe on top. It just feels like Aster are in total control of the win conditions.
It's a hero though.
Like
I love it in this situation.
It's the perfect hero for Mushi. Okay. The Razor, he can't play Razor, play Necro. Something easy. Something just sits in lane and hits you, and it'll probably die, but you have Siler Terrorblade, so it's fine.
I am willing to ride or die. I love the contextual Necro,
make predictions,
but I'm willing to ride or die. Okay,
I thought it would be unfair. Because, you know,
fair enough.
Former coach, former player, bit of NA bias in here.
I love this draft.
Just thought that would be a bit, you know, over the top. So we won't make them make predictions. Instead, we'll leave it to the game to play out. Remember, compLexity only need one game, as we'd have it to our commentary team for game number 1.
Ride or die. I don't really hear that too often with Alan and Kyle. I think in those two options, it's just they're both dead, no matter what.
So who did they go for? Who was their...
I think they were backing the Necrophos last pick. I think they really like that.
Oh, I see.
They weren't a fan of the last pick Morphling, nor was I. It seems really questionable against Elder Titan. It looked to me like they had such a big draft advantage once they had that Timber Saw.
Yeah.
And then the 5th picks almost switched that around.
I think it's because Morph is one of the best ways to deal with TB, because you just become, you know, if you can't beat him,
join him.
You're
just another Terrorblade on the map.
Yeah, become TB numero dos.
Where do you lie? This compLexity, Aster, do you have a favorite here? Let's say, do you have a favorite before the draft, before you look at it?
I think, like, between the two teams, who I think is better, I think Cole maybe a little bit. I don't know, but Aster also upset Nip yesterday.
Yeah.
So who really knows, like, what their form is at. Then Aster's, like, the most confusing team. Like, they had good games against Nip, but they also got absolutely, like, 20 minutes stomped by DC. Or I guess they're not DC. They're just
Chaos.
Chaos Esports Club. Chech.
It is understandable that Aster is kind of a weird team right now with the whole Mushi just joining / maybe standing in weird sort of thing. But this is definitely a team that, given some of the players on the roster, should be performing better than they actually are as a team.
Of course.
Very similar to
sides.
the forward situation, right?
Yeah, but it's also like, I expect, the thing about it is, if you're a professional team, like, be professional, you know? Like, win games against people that aren't sponsored and stuff consistently. Like, I don't want to see Cole lose to, like, Flying Penguins and Team. You know, those guys don't have your infrastructure that you have set up. So, like, in that way, I'm a little bit disappointed. But we'll see what
How do you think this matchup goes? The Timber Saw versus Necrophos for the laning phase? Like, obviously, Necrophos great versus Timber Saw later, but how do you think the laning phase goes?
I think it's fine for Timber.
Yeah.
Because once you hit level 3, you have the 2 levels of reactive, and you pretty much negate all of his right-click. It's a little bit annoying in the beginning, just because, I mean, the 6 levels aren't high enough, and Limp probably needs a little bit more regen, which I think he's bringing over. Yeah, he's bringing over a salve. So he needs to be able to have, like, you need, in this mid matchup, to be able to have at least one, like...
Miracle! He is dangerously low, and he doesn't have a way out of here. Now he's being blocked by his creep. Oh no, trying to get through. Will manage to get around this. Siler does actually fall, but Miracle is still being chased right now by Fenrir and almost catches up to him. But look at that, 3-4-3, gives him away the healing cell and does the body blocking necessary.
I guess he just got tossed back with poison on him, because Z-Freak didn't level his tree. Oh, and he just sends Adam back. All right.
Not exactly what he intended, but...
If I need compLexity to play well, you need Adam and Z-Freak to be really active on the map together.
You feel like that's the difference between the bad Cole games and the good ones, is that the support duo?
Yeah, like the games that Cole plays well is when Adam plays well.
Oh, Bobica, that is not a courier snipe that... he got spotted by the range creep somehow.
And I think for Aster, it's the consistency in their cores.
Okay.
Like being able to enable their tri-core is pretty important. That's what they were able to do against Nip. Like, Bobica just kind of walk around, like, do what you want.
I mean, why is he not here in this try versus try?
And he went to go snipe the courier.
You think it was that important in that mid matchup?
Clearly, he thought so. I don't even think that's that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, doesn't Timbersaw just be like, okay, I have reactive armor still?
Yeah, like if you look at it, the Timber's doing fine against Mushi. It's like I said,
12-1.
once you have 2 levels of the reactive armor, you don't really care what the Necro does to you.
No.
I mean, the Necro doesn't really care what the Timber does either.
Yeah, they both have like enough sustain in lane that they're just both going to be sitting there CSing.
Yeah.
How's our bottom lane matchup? It's a Centaur who's getting very low XXS, trying to get away from death. Looks like he has been taking a lot of damage from this early orb pickup from the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, so you're our
Treants more.
You're our offlane expert.
Mm.
You know, because sure. What is this matchup like?
You sound so accepting of the term expert when applied to me. Thank you, William. Really enabling your fellow caster here.
What's up, man? We're all just trying to make each other look better. That's the important part. It's like, man, you know, until you've played on a top team like Zephyr, like.
That's true. I've not had the glory of that experience. Top lane, Bobica trying to get that dazzle out of here. He's going to be able to pull the creep wave back. And again, it seems like they're continually doing this, trying to pull the creep equilibrium as far forward as possible. As far as the Centaur Nature's Prophet matchup, I imagine that's got to be a bit annoying for the Centaur, but you should still be able to get great CS. In fact, shouldn't you be out CSing the Nature's Prophet when you're there, simply because you're a melee hero, you've got better base attack damage. It is so easy to last hit with Centaur, and then you've got the retaliate stack, so you're going to be building up as well.
The downside, though, is that you don't really have a lot of base armor.
Yeah.
So having the 1 armor versus a Nature's Prophet who very smartly rushed the Blightstone, I think was a really good decision by Death.
Yeah, Death definitely understood how he can abuse the early game part of this matchup, for sure.
Did he miss that CS? I think he did. I saw what he was going for there. It's probably not going to be interesting to 99% of people, but hold that thought, as Bobica, I think, is just dead.
Yeah, Z-Freak's going to catch him with his Invis Rune, and Fenrir will be able to get a good stomp on all 3 heroes, but Sylar can't really do anything about that. He's got creeps to hit. He's there underneath the tower right now, so...
I was going to say, what he did was he waited for the tower hit because it was really hard for him to get both hits off. Okay. So he let his first creep get hit by the tower, and when the next animation, like he didn't finish it off, when the animation of the tower was flying through, then he went for the CS, and he got there before the tower, so then he could hit the other one at the same time. It's just cool. Like, I like little things like that.
You got to if you're a mid player. They're going to be able to catch the Furion here. Bobica, after his death in top, has come bottom to catch out the Nature's Prophet. A great kill that'll enable the Centaur lane and also slow down this Furion. We've seen a lot of mid Furion recently in the previous patch, and we see just how powerful an early level 6 on Nature's Prophet with that Wrath of Nature. Ever since they changed it so it scales more damage the later bounces, it just becomes a monster in these early fights.
Yeah, we saw that Vlad's Nature's Prophet. I think I saw...
Death is going to be able to finish him off. And
interesting.
From his prison. Yeah, I have no idea what kind of rotation that was from Bobica. It's questionable.
Very unlikely that he does anything there.
And now Mushi, he's actually going to turn around here, trying to get away from Limp, but...
He's dead.
He is very dead.
You guys, you can't kill this this Timbersaw. And he can kill you.
I mean... You and I both are support players, and I know at this point in the game, like, nobody's talking about ganking the Timbersaw. Nobody feels good about that call.
My man, that guy has 22, 23 armor.
He out-regens every single hit that you do.
Yeah, you heal him over time. Your attacks quite literally heal him. They make him stronger.
Support, your attack damage is so bad that the regen and armor you're giving him is beneficial to the Timber
Some
Saw.
really Yu-Gi-Oh activated his trap card shit. Like, why? Whenever I see anyone try to gank like a level 7 Timber as like a level 3 support, I'm like, come on, man. There's got to be better uses of your time. You could literally be doing anything else. Stack a camp, you know, walk around, farm some neutrals.
William, I know you have a mid tier 1 tower. Oh, Sylar. They're going to TP in Death, and Sylar does not have a level 6. He's going to try and slow down these heroes, but look at that. The Timber Saw even coming up to this top lane, helping to cut down Sylar, and might be able to catch Fenrir as well.
No, he's gone.
They've got no disables to catch him.
So
Still, though.
You're talking about my mid lane fetish, right?
Yes, your mid lane tier 1 tower fetish. And surely that's got to feel great if you're complexity. You took the mid tower at 5.5 minutes in.
They're going to take the top one, too. Lim's going to cut this creep wave. He's going to Soul Ring, use everything up. There you go. Then they're going to grab this tier 1 tower. Then you get complete control of this entire top area. They've already placed a ward over here, which I'm sure JJ will show you, by the shrine, which makes it really easy for them to play around this area. And now you make it so that the TB has no farm comeback mechanic except for farming this triangle, this dire triangle. This is the best thing that Aster did, was get rid of this bottom tier 1 tower in response. Like XXS was like, there's no business for me being top at all.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you want to do as an offlaner, guys. If you're wondering, what do I do as an offlaner, like when that tower's being taken, don't go there. That's a death trap. You will die every time, and you're going to bait everyone into death with you. No pun intended. Just take that bottom tier 1 tower, allow Sylar.
Thank you for that, JJ.
Allow Sylar to, what did he do?
He just drew an X on the shrine area.
Oh, okay, good. Just allow Sylar to do his thing. That's how you catch up into the game. So what I'd like complexity to do is smoke up right now, go in there, and get kills. You know that he's in there for sure. Process of elimination dictates that. Because you've taken the mid tower, you have control. You need more heroes down at bottom right now.
Yeah, they're going to be able to catch Z-Freak. Sylar is going to be able to help his team finish him up, but with that Wrath of Nature, everybody drops low. Bobica, fortunately, he'll complete his TP, but
that's what I'm talking about.
What a disastrous play by Aster.
And just go down there
so quickly.
Go kill those fools. You know they're down there. So what I'd like is maybe a ward placed a little bit near the shrine, or the rune, I mean. You know, on the Radiant side. JJ can't see my pings. But above the 2 camps, you get one of those wards out, then you make it hard for Sylar to play anywhere. Or you get one in the triangle.
All you have to know is, like, when Sylar goes into your jungle.
Yeah.
That's Radiant side, basically.
Once you have that kind of figured out, it makes it hard.
Yeah. Because then all that Sylar's left with is the offlane jungle.
Yeah.
Right? And that is a very safe jungle, but that's all that's left.
That's why Adam right now is coming into this area, because he's trying to establish ward vision so that he can see when the TB goes down. Like, I'd like him to place one aggressive ward in the triangle, which he did. He has that one that he just placed right there, and maybe even a deeper one so that he can see people come down, which is exactly what he does. You save one ward. I'd imagine maybe even getting it past. Yep. So now you have this entire area warded, and you already, just by process of elimination, you've gotten rid of this top area for farming.
Yeah.
Because you've taken the tier 1 tower and the tier 1 mid tower, so you have this angle to come up in. It's way too hard for Aster to know exactly what your ward vision is. Like, the worst part about losing mid tower is that you just don't, you have to constantly place wards there if you're Aster, if you want to play in that area. And since you don't want to do that, it really limits the amount of farm that Sylar has. And this is how you take advantage of these heroes that naturally just want to jungle and kind of slow down the pace, and that's how they get back into the game. And so complexity in that regard are doing a very good job of just limiting the map movement and the map space that you get. Because what you want to do ideally against a carry like that is make him feel like he can't farm anywhere. Really limit his area. Because Mushi also needs farm. XSS also needs farm. And Aster, as we talked about, like, the way when they're successful, it's because they're able to enable all 3 of their cores. But in this type of game, if you play this style, you're going to make that hard for them. I think Aster still have very easy ways to win this game. Because, you know, they've got TB, Necro's always a really good comeback hero, and they have good team fight overall. But these are the things that you need to be doing to put yourself in this position.
And I feel like these sort of situations are really put to the test safe lane carries, right? Because you have to be really good at being able to read the map and see, like he just saw, you know, even though his whole entire jungle area was warded, he goes down to that bottom lane. He pushes that out, he farms some of that area. But as soon as complexity established that they got some aggressive vision in the offlane jungle, they were showing some heroes there, he switched up. He was like, all right, I'm going back to my own safe lane jungle and farming that again. And he just keeps on trying to find these areas where it's okay for him to farm.
Yeah, so what Sylar is doing is then the counter to that, because obviously he knows that this is going to happen. But look at this, the smoke's coming in from from compLexity, and because they have so much vision set up around this area, they know exactly where to go. So one ward has been dewarded. Sylar thinks like, okay, I'm probably fine. But there's the 2 supports waiting right here. The TP can come in. You see that the Timber Saw's coming down too. The stun.
Nice Avalanche. They're going to try and blow up Bobica right away. They are going to be able to get the Stampede, and they couldn't get the Sprout in. And now 343 is going to be in trouble. The Stomp goes out. Doesn't really hit anything there. Great Sprout block there from Death.
And that was a 4-man rotation. Whoa. This is going to allow Miracle.
XXS showing himself here, but they're actually okay. Mushi almost goes for the Reaper Scythe onto the Dazzle. Got interrupted by the Avalanche. Great catch there from Bobica. Managed to grab Death, but he managed to get through those wards. Still doesn't matter. The Reaper Scythe will manage to cut him down. Timbersaw, I'm not sure if they can really go for him, especially with the Reaper Scythe now down. They're going to try, though, with the Hex as well. A little bit of heal coming out from the Dazzle. I know he doesn't have Shallow Grave right now, but Limp still managed just as ever so barely get out. Back to the Shrine he goes. Aster, do not give chase, and that's good. Yeah. I mean, they just be happy with what you got there.
What really made that happen was this ward right here that they previously had. It just faded, but it was able to spot the Timbersaw coming in. And that's just a little bit greedy by compLexity. Like, if he is smoked with them, he probably felt like he had to push out this mid lane, but you can just send your Nature's Prophet to do that too. Like, he can just TP there. He's got his own TP available right after. But by getting spotted by this ward right here, which is a really nicely placed ward by Aster. Like, we don't talk about wards enough and the way that 5 positions do it, but trying to protect this area into the jungle, because he can't place one here. I think it's too obvious. Like, I think this one gets spotted, especially because he has this ward already right here. And Bobica's thinking about it, but...
Shout out to our 3rd man of the broadcast, JJ, who's doing an excellent job observing and deciphering Blitz's wards are here.
By the way, he plays the same ward. He plays the exact same ward.
Yeah.
Because it spotted the Timbersaw rotation. He's like, this is probably the safest way to protect my jungle. So I love wards. Like, the thought process behind wards on both sides. Because Adam placed that ward on the right side too, it makes this ward that's still in their jungle too, like 10 times more effective.
Yeah.
It's spotting Sylar out right now. It was like a feint ward. You're like, well, you give up one ward to give up the other.
Yeah, you very rarely double down in vision like that, but vision of the offlane jungle is amazing. Fenrir's going to fall here. Death.
Oh, this is going to ruin it now, though.
Is going to be able to catch him. And yes, they just got the Wrath of Nature proc onto Sylar, which gives him a heads up. That area is warded. Time to get out.
Yeah, Sylar's like, okay, I can't play in this area now. And now this is like a cat and mouse game between these kinds of mobile cores. It's like, where do I go? What places do I go? But Aster, I think they're giving up too much real estate, because now that you've given up the top tier 2 and the mid tier 2, Roshan is a very easy thing for them to go for. They've got Vlads, they can just make their morph go all the way to Agi. They'll take it in 3 seconds. And it's hard for Aster to consistently play in that area, because I'd imagine their smokes, maybe they've got like 2. If you have like 2 smokes or something, you can make like just random guess plays. But if your Nature's Prophet does the Bulldog play, which Bulldog, got really big for, which is, he just consistently pressures the lanes, pushes out that top lane, somebody always has to go there to respond. So this is one of their smokes that they have. They're not going for the Roshan, and instead they're going into the own jungle. As Lim should not be here.
They're going to be able to catch him with the Stampede. Hex first, Shackle. After that, lots of magic damage going to come his way. But is it going to be enough? He has the hood to be able to protect him decent amount. And Aster realized they can't actually take this anymore. Z-Free coming in from behind, but Sylar managed to get him down. Bobica will finally fall as Miracle managed to use his waveform to jump in. 3-4-3 in the back line. Almost dies. Gets off the Shallow Grave just in time. But Sylar, it is just a waiting game. He will stick close to that Dazzle and make sure that as soon as that protection is gone, he will fall.
I think that Limp, I don't think anybody should play this bottom area, but I do think they should just go Rosh right now. I think it takes 2 seconds with the morph. And now that you've known that Aster has blown one of those smokes, people don't really go for back-to-back smoke plays. Yeah. It's just not really a thing that happens in Dota. Cole's going to be okay with that just because they can just do this, go Roshan, because they feel really comfortable with the ward vision that they have. You've taken the tier 1 tower and the tier 2 tower in both mid and top, which just completely frees this up.
Your point about Limp, you're saying like he should be playing, almost all of compLexity should be playing mid and top and just waiting for that Roshan possibility.
Yeah, I don't think you should be in this bottom jungle area because it doesn't really net you anything except farm.
And you don't have to worry about the lanes pushing in. You have a Nature's Prophet to do
exactly. So now compLexity is going to get this free Roshan, which is the the next cog after you've taken those tier 1s and tier 2s. So now the next natural place to grab the remaining outer tier 1, tier 2 tower, you're going to reestablish vision in this area because you want to fight over this triangle.
In the offlane jungle area.
Yeah, in the offlane jungle area. You want to fight over that area. Go here as 4. Let one person push out the other side lanes. Let your Nature's Prophet do his work.
XXS
Yeah,
does not have Stampede. And they don't. Well, there's going to be a Sprout first. Quickly eats through one of the trees. There's the Stampede. Finally, it comes off cooldown. XXS may still be caught here. They don't actually have a stun to stop him. So he gets away scot-free.
Yeah, Miracle's just going to continue to pressure out this top lane.
So you're saying you want complexity to push down this bottom lane, take that tier 1, take that tier 2, get some more vision in that dire off-lane jungle area.
Yeah. Don't. The problem is once you get dewarded in this area, people just often concede. Like once you get dewarded once or twice, but it's a battle. Because every single time they try to get in that area too, you know, it's costly for them because you'll see them coming in.
Yeah.
So you sort of have to persist in that regard. And let Death just push out all the side lanes, because that's what Nature's Prophet does, right?
Yeah, it allows you to pretty much play 4-man non-stop without really being punished by split pushing.
Exactly. That's always going to be Nature's Prophet's strongest skill, is that he's never going to give up position on the map. You don't get punished.
There are some downsides to Nature's Prophet, right? You always
Yes.
bring up what Moon Meander used to say on DC.
You cannot teamfight with this hero very easily.
Yeah.
Oh, all that thought is.
Managed to get the toss back here. Mushi is able to get away with that Ghost Shroud. Held in.
Oh,
Nice stop. That's going to be a pretty good one. Catches 2. But Aster still not comfortable following up that initiation. A tanky limp on the front lines with the plate mail as well as the hood. So hard to kill him and very hard to get around him. So it seems like Aster is just not willing.
Just keep building him up, Limp. Become strong. Drink that milk.
Guardian Greaves now for Mushi. You saying Aster's been giving up more and more real estate. Do you think that they finally take a 5-on-5 fight here? Because it seems like they kind of want to, but they're too scared to...
No, I think they're just trying to delay so that their TB can get space. This is the classic trade-off, is when one team feels like they have to 5-man.
Z-Freak almost got the toss back there on Mushi. Grabbed a creep instead. Stomp's going to come out. Does manage to hit the 2 cores.
Oh, TB's coming in. They're going to come in for this.
Miracle's already quite low. Sylar doesn't have a ton of Metamorphosis timing left, so if Aster want to be able to fight it, they need to be able to fight right now.
Cole's going to be pretty happy about this.
Yeah.
They were able to force the TB back for nothing.
And you just chill now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just like we talked about with
just let Death push out the top
OG
lane.
forward game. The Dragon form has been popped. Just chill.
Just chill.
Just chill.
Just, you can continue to push this if you want. Just let Death deal with this top lane. He'll be there in a sec if he needs to be. You have Aegis. You know that meta is almost down.
Yeah.
They do need to get ward vision in that area. I think that's why they're a little bit scared. Is because they don't see anything.
Yeah.
Aside from, I mean, this is their... This bottom area is where they have the ward vision, but they want to try to play deeper into it. Like, you have to fight over this ward vision right now if you're complexity.
There's the Lotus Orb now complete for Limp. So we've got a great answer to Sunder. Might even be able to deal with some of the disables from the Shadow Shaman too. Just a 2-man smoke-up? What is this? Shadow Shaman and Centaur. Are they going to go try catch that split-pushing Fury on it? Seems like it.
It's not a bad play.
Yeah, but
Especially if they grab
unfortunately, Z-Freak just popped that smoke on him.
Okay.
So
I think they were maybe hoping he would go for the top bounty rune.
Oh, no. And instead of...
No, he's good, he's good, he's good.
He's good. Stampede, he's out.
He's
DP
good.
away. He's okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
50 seconds for the Aegis on Miracle. So it doesn't look like complexity are going to be able to get that timing. They gave up on that tier 2 push you were talking about. Maybe complexity just got a little impatient. Decided to spread out, get some more farm.
Yeah. I don't think it's the worst decision. I would have liked to see them take it because they know that the TB doesn't have meta. I can kind of see why they didn't go for it though, because they didn't have ward vision. And it's so scary. Like, the way that you lose Dota is just to not have ward vision.
You can see from the GG bet odds, dead even. Do you feel like this game is dead even though?
I think it's slightly complexity favored, but I've been talking about them for a while because I think the way that they play is like, I mean, being the aggressor, it's more interesting.
Yes, like controlling the game is naturally,
yeah,
it's like a harder play, right?
Yeah. So we should talk about the things that Aster's doing, right? Like,
okay.
For one, I think Sylar is playing like a beast this game. Like he
hasn't been caught.
Yeah, he has had a really rough laning phase, but he's taking advantage of the fact that he's got almost no ward vision. He has one ward on the map, and most of his team's D wards have to go into their own jungle. So this guy's playing relatively blind, but
and
he's still
always
trying to
making
create
the right
space.
read, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he hasn't really been caught out. The play bottom was a little bit sloppy, but aside from that, he's been doing a good job. And Aster...
Oh, from the high ground, look at that. Bobica finds an initiation. Unfortunately, there's going to be the shallow grave. Death is actually still quite healthy. He won't immediately die after this, so he's going to be okay. In fact, there's even going to be a sprout, maybe a bit of revenge from Death as Bobica tried to go on him. Looks like TP up from Bobica. That's not going to complete. That's 1 dead, 2 dead actually from Aster. The 2 supports as well as now Mushi going to be caught. No, that's a fast little chicken. Get away. Oh, Mushi's going to be caught by the stun of Miracle, and he will fall here.
That was not the best play for them to make. And they keep trying to make these plays, but if you're not going on the Dazzle, playing Necro against Dazzle is the most frustrating thing ever. Playing Necro against Dazzle or Oracle just feels like you're not even a hero.
Yeah. You don't have an ultimate.
Sylar has committed for this. I feel like they should probably try to kill Sylar here. Does anybody have a TP?
I think they all TP down to the bottom lane, which is maybe why Sylar feels like he could do this, but what a great sprout. Again, those zoning sprouts from Death been excellently placed.
And they have to know, too, that without Sylar, like they don't have that kind of damage to make those kinds of plays, especially for as far deep as they were. I think they probably felt like they had to expand the map by going for that play at bottom. But without your TB there, it's very unlikely that you're going to win that fight or deal enough damage.
Yeah, they were probably thinking the same thing you were, right? Which is kind of like, guys, we're playing so passive. Let's do something. Let's try and make some plays happening.
Yeah, and that's the other cool part about Dota is that, you know, you can always talk about, like, from a third perspective. Oh, hold that dodge.
is
nice waveform dodge.
Very dead. Dead man. He's just trying to run down lanes. Takes him a while. Finally, Miracle does get the kill.
Yeah, but we can always talk about stuff like this is the perfect play to make, but, you know, human emotion, being antsy, those are things that happen as Mushi.
Well, because here to bail him out, stopping the
nice
Timber Chain.
So Sylar is top net worth in the game. He's found space where really there wasn't a lot.
So let's recap, right? You said
what's up?
Bright parts for Aster. All I remember was Sylar. Is there anything else? Is there anybody else on the team?
I mean, Mushi's doing a pretty good job. It's just his again playing Necro against Dazzle or Oracle, so it feels bad. Because if you don't kill either of those heroes, you know they're pros, man. Adam's not going to miss that grave. Who's that player that missed that grave? Was it Funnick or something at a TI?
Yes.
Everyone made memes. Was it Funnick?
I think so.
No, it was Artstyle?
It was Artstyle. Yeah, he's self shallow grave, right? Instead of
rough moments.
Yeah, happens to everybody.
That's why I say should. Should is the operative word here.
Yeah,
but of course, mistakes happen.
How about another bright part for Team Aster? They haven't tried to get too offensive, and I almost think that's a good thing because, I mean, they're just going to lose fights. They lost the laning phase, and they don't really have the heroes that can really fight right now. It almost seems like a good thing that they're just kind of like chilling out and letting Sylar do his thing.
Games like this are always weird, though, because what ends up happening is it's sort of like a Tinker game. You ever play a Tinker game where you allow your Tinker to try to like 1-on-5 for you, and if your Tinker doesn't do that, they're going to run him down
with a Stampede this time around. It's going to be the
Execute
first. Ripper Sight.
Oh, they dropped the line. That's a bait. Nah, but what was I going to say? It's like the Tinker dilemma.
When you finally catch the Tinker once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's felt that. You know, when you have this asshole on your team that just farms for like 45 minutes pushing out lanes, and you're like, you better do something with that. They are giving everything to Sylar.
Out of necessity, that's Sylar right now.
Of course. Right. I can't blame him.
Is this like, this couldn't have been plan A?
No, it was not. It definitely wasn't.
This was plan B or C. What was supposed to be plan A?
I mean, plan A is never just to watch one hero farm. You gotta go.
What are you talking about, Blitz? I play 5 position. That's my plan A every game.
This is an NA Dota special. All right. I think plan A was hopefully that the lanes go a bit better. They set up some kills around mid. Death doesn't have as good of a laning phase, and they're able to defend their tier 1 and tier 2 towers with the combination of the ET plus Necro. Like, you just sit those 2 heroes in front. but compLexity got so far ahead so fast.
Yeah, I mean, they took that mid tower off of like that really weird.
That was the worst part.
Gank on Timber.
Because if you don't do that, then you can just sit there against Limp.
Yeah.
But as a result, like Timber isn't a typical lane pusher because he doesn't really hit towers. But what he does is he skips the creep wave so fast that you just get 4 creeps and a catapult hitting the tower. It'll go down fast.
And the moment they take that mid tower, then Timbersaw is all of a sudden free to move out of the lane.
Yeah. His rotation to go to top is what made this game possible.
Yes.
That was the game like clutch move so far that Limp made. That was the best play that Limp made, was when he went to go take that top tower almost immediately, no hesitation.
Yo, Mushi is 3rd in net worth.
Yeah, he's done a really good job
Really?
of just hitting creeps too.
Good job, Mushi. He's
XXS
almost at the same as the Morphling. How? What?
All right, I don't know what Cole's doing, but like, you want to get back. Guys,
I'm just gonna let a Terrorblade hit your tower, huh?
Dudes. What's going on there?
They really did not want to give up their offensive stance, and they really haven't yet. I mean, it's just Timbersaw and this
They're
Nature's
trying to wait
Prophet.
for the next Roche.
Try and control that area. You could see Z-Freak just tossed a branch over there.
Oh, they're going to run
See if he
into
can wake up
XXS.
Roshan. And Team Aster certainly didn't expect anybody to still be here like this. XXS will suffer a very nasty surprise.
TB's really farmed now, though. He's got Manta, Scotty, drums.
Yeah. I mean, it almost feels like... I mean, they have a Morphling. Where do you think this goes late game? Like, who has the advantage? Wait. Is that our Timbersaw? He's in trouble. Oh, the Reaper side, that's not quite enough. Limp may still be able to get away. A long Timber chain. Z-Freak's going to come in, running interference. Now Miracle's going to jump in as well. Limp barely surviving on like 5% HP.
Trying to kill
and now
Timbersaw.
He's back to 50%. He's going to join the rest of his team in finishing up this Roshan. Wait.
That's a smoke.
That is a sneaky little smoke. They're going to pop out of it. That was not the toss back, but they do have a haste rune on Z-Freak. He's still going to be able to catch the Shadow Shaman here. Bob said, stomp from Fenrir. Maybe Mushi and him can still get out, but
there's a sandwich coming.
Oh, they're going to come in from the other side. Sylar and XXS, he missed the stomp. That's not good. Sylar tries to throw some damage in. Nice save, though, for Miracle with that Ethereal Blade. Limp as well, trying to stay out of the hands of Sylar right now. Needs to be able to get up into that high ground and will be able to do so. He's okay. Actually throws a Chakram back. Fenrir drops a little bit low. Z-Freak is still waiting for his opportunity to either jump in or jump away, and it's going to be the latter. It's going to
just reset.
out.
You need a reset. The TB has used meta. This has now put Aster on a clock.
Yes. Free Roshan for you as soon as that meta is down.
Do not make OG's mistake. Wait out the big transformation spell. Just chill.
So
there was 2 buybacks used on the side of Aster.
Should Aster go into the Roshan pit themselves?
I think that's way too risky.
Too risky.
Yeah, and you don't have Necro at this time.
So
if you don't
you're
have
okay
Necro,
with giving away the Aegis here?
You sort of have to at this point.
Okay.
I think they were hoping. It was a really cool move by Sylar and XSS to come in from that side. They were trying to sandwich, but when you miss the Suntower stun, there's like no way that has effectively ended your...
XXS is not feeling this game.
My guy is having a rough one of this. Plus, Adam's positioning was really nice too. But now they're going to go in to try to finish Roche. I think Aster probably contest because they have an ET.
So what do you do when you can't contest Roshan? I mean, it seems like Aster are going to try, but let's say hypothetically.
I'm pretty convinced that they can't win this fight.
There's no way, right?
We'll see.
They're going to stomp, trying to slow it down, but compLexity, they've done this once before. Okay, Limp, has he gone a little bit too far? The Reaper Scythers are going to come in. Oh, there's that shallow grave once again. Now, Limp may still die here, just won't have that extra death timer, but sure enough, Team Aster do manage to cut him down, and now they have the Stampede 2. Death is going to be caught here. Big stomp comes out from Fenrir. Plenty of disables to make sure that Nature's Prophet can't get away. In melee form, the Terrorblade is able to fight this one. Miracle actually turning into a Terrorblade himself in the back lines.
I can't believe Limp just kind of went in there.
Yeah, they could have just sat in the Roshan pit, and I'm pretty sure Aster wouldn't have been able to go inside, but...
The problem was that he was so far from his team.
Yeah.
He just kind of YOLO'd in there, and Sylar doesn't... He's about to have meta up again as a result of this. All they had to do is be patient, I'm pretty sure. Like, just let Miracle plus a bunch of Nature's Prophet treants hit it, and you force Aster's hand at that point. And then they have to come to you, and then you can set these fights up.
Instead, Limp's like, 1v4, let's go.
Haven't killed me before, you. It's like, well, past performance. Ooh.
I am unkillable. Every Timbersaw player knows that.
Every Timbersaw, any tanky hero that hasn't died, but this is Dota 2. You get punished for moves.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Death
this was
by
League of
1,000
Legends.
cuts.
This would be 17-0 and the game would be over now.
I've never played that game, so
7-0.
I have no idea.
It's not great.
I've never played League. I've never played Han. Only Dota player here.
You missed out on a special little moment in time with Han.
Did I?
Yeah, what a weird.
Here's the thing. I just hate change. When everyone was like playing Han, I was like, no, I'm gonna play Dota, guys. You'll all come back.
Man, I wish we knew each other back then.
Why?
That was.
No,
that was harsh. Why?
No.
I felt that in my heart.
Let me tell you, I was a toxic person. Like, I know I'm not the best person. I'm not a really good person right now, if I'm just honest here. But like,
but you were even worse back then.
I know whoever dislikes me out there for whatever reason, it's probably well deserved if I'm honest here. But back then, I was on a team with AUI and Frenzy, and I got kicked from it for being toxic. It's like we're all
Those
cool now.
Those guys are so nice.
Oh, I was not. I was.
Anyway, my point was, I also did not want to make the transition from Dota 1 to Han. My team literally split up, went to Han, and I was like, what happened?
Oh, hold that thought. They're just going to get a free kill on Z-Freak, and now compLexity are kind of...
They never... Roshan's... All right.
Roshan's just free now, I guess. I mean, Limp... Or, Z-Freak doesn't have buyback, and they've dropped wards for this, too. It looks like they're going to try to go in for this, but I don't think they have the disable.
But at the same time, can they really give up Aegis and Cheese to a Terrorblade that is...
I don't see any way you can fight this, because the Centaur stun negates any sort of... They don't really have stuns without Limp.
Yeah.
Or without the Z-Freak. I keep making that mistake, sorry. You just don't have any team fight without him. I feel like they sort of blew their timing, Austin.
Yeah, they threw this game.
They just kind of let the TB... It wasn't even that. It was when the TB had meta down, I feel like you really just let the two heroes sit in Roach Pit and fight. And now I think the game is a lot more complicated because your timing window was predicated on the fact that, you know, your Timber was unkillable in a 5-on-5.
Yeah.
You have double pipe, or you have a pipe on your Nature's Prophet. He has a hood active. He's going to be really strong. But being able to put out damage is one of the tenets of going late game, right? And their ability to put out damage is hard because they only have this one stun. Whereas for Aster, I mean, you're seeing how good this Shaman looks in this game in comparison to the fact that, like, nobody else on the enemy team has a disable.
Yeah.
It's like the game where we saw OG with the Ember Spirit. It's like, Ember's not the best lockdown, but next to absolutely no lockdown, he looks amazing.
Yeah. And a Shadow Shaman that has reached this point where he's got level 15, he's got an Ether Lens. It's a big difference when you get an extra 375 cast range.
Yeah, so now now the Centaur, you know, even though XXS hasn't had the best game in terms of, you know, numbers, being 0, 3, and 7, all he has to do is press that Stampede button, you outrun the Tiny Stun and reset fights.
17-9, Aster have a 2,000 gold lead, and it feels like they've got a very, very healthy chance to win this game.
Oh, for sure.
What would you put percentage-wise? Like,
so
70,
before
30,
the Roshan, before that mid thing, I thought it was like 60-40
yeah.
in compLexity's favor. Maybe a bit more, like 65-35. And now I think it's maybe like 70-30 in Aster's favor.
It just looks like very difficult. I'm not sure what the next stage of the game is. You know, like I don't know what point the Morphling reaches that he's strong enough to be able to contest Necro TB with, you know, again, as you're pointing out, no stuns on your team.
So the cool thing about, I mean, the best thing about Dota is, like, you know, there's always human error and stuff like that. So even though we were talking like compLexity was winning, which they were, you know, as an analyst, I'm never gonna like say 100% Cole has won this game. Like when you press earlier, it's like they have an advantage, but you know, Aster, they did the correct thing. They just chilled.
Yeah.
Siler's like, guys, I'm like actually just farming everything. No one has touched me. He hasn't died since they killed him in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, since the laning phase, he's done such a good job of just finding farm. And it's not even like they had vision for the majority of this game. I saw they have one ward for 20 minutes. And
will happily tank some of these Serpent wards, gets up to his full reactive armor stacks. He's going to try and slow down this push from Aster, but double Siege Wagons is making short work of this tier 3. It's going to fall, but Z-Freak managed to get the toss back on a Siler. If they can blow him up once, that'd be fantastic, but a 4-step actually gets him to the other side of the cliff.
Sunder?
He turns around, threatens the Sunder on Limp, but doesn't actually commit it. Mushi is now going to be able to get away. I believe that was his 4-staff that bailed out Siler. What a great play by him.
Dick.
What?
Siler just, I always hate when people Sunder
he
supports.
just Sundered Bobica?
Like, dude, that guy's life matters. You don't think Bobica wants to play Dota?
He's got Tranquils.
That's true. That's the only acceptable.
You don't know.
That's
you don't
the
know
only
their
acceptable.
relationship. I've done that before. I've told my TV, Sunder me. Sunder me.
That's the only acceptable one.
I like it.
When you're like a lich.
And you've got
Tranquils?
Tranquils.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But that's the only acceptable backing away Sunder. I'm not saying, like, you know, if you're in a hectic team fight, like, by all means. But if you're just casually leaving, it's the only acceptable thing.
Well, compLexity managed to hold for now, but simultaneously they didn't finish out that Aegis. Fortunately for them, they only need to wait another 50 seconds. So maybe that's why Aster are... I was going to say, I thought maybe they were going to try and get a fight going, but it seems like they're just playing behind Siler and letting him farm.
It's been working out so far. It's so weird because Aster just hasn't made any moves this game, but they're just gonna win. They made like 2 disastrous moves and then like, I guess we won. It's such a weird.
Like, maybe the best move is no move. Siler, do your thing.
Damn, it was in us all along.
They listen to you, Blitz. They're like, Dota is a game of mistakes. If you don't do anything, can't make
we
mistakes.
go.
The jump in, they're going to be able to fight Bobica, but the Glimmer Cape, no. They had the vision down. They're going to be able to catch him. Shallow Grave is going to be able to save a little bit of time for death, but I don't think he can actually TP out in time. In fact, he can't. Siler managed to bring him down. Nice stomp from Fenrir. A better ultimate, too. That's going to be able to... Whoa, jeez. Z-Freak, he's gone. And now Limp is stuck in no man's land. Activates that Bloodstone, but the regen just isn't going to be enough. Aster, big win, team fight, and now they have the opportunity. Well, maybe they can actually just go into high ground because unfortunately Miracle has pulled the creep wave.
He's pulled it so far back.
Oh no.
You know what this reminds you of? This is such a weird game because I think that was the only team fight that Aster's like won. For even the one where they killed Limp, they only killed him. Like nobody else from compLexity committed.
Yeah.
And they've gotten like these random pickoffs. But this is like the first like hard team fight 5-on-5 that they've won. And it might just be enough. They're just going to march down this lane, and with 3 heroes dead, and Siler knows that he's just the big boss of this game now. He's almost completely 6-slotted. He's got drums, so I don't really consider that, you know, a ultra late game item or anything, but he's done it.
He can still grow. Time to force some buybacks out of compLexity. That's going to be Limp as well as Z-Freak using theirs, but they also don't have any catch. So they buy back, and yeah, sure, they stop the bleeding. They're not going to be down 2 lanes of racks, but they don't kill anybody. Aster get to back up for free. In fact, they're going to be cheeky enough to take the shrine on their way out. They're not scared of compLexity at all.
No, I think that team fight taught them everything they needed to know about the game. And that's, you know, good teams adapt. They're thinking to themselves, well, we couldn't win team fights before, but now we can. Like, the fights are so easy because they know that Stampede is the best get-out-of-jail-free card.
Oh, look at that. See, you were talking about Siler, the selfish Sunder. Mushi's a team player. He gave away his cheese to Bobica.
Will commend after game. Does he have a, what is that thing? The statue? Yeah, I'll hit that commend button.
The... whatever those are called, indeed.
The effigies. Oh, he doesn't have one. All right. If I see one next time from him, I'll mash that button. All right, so Cole...
Man, smoke up. They're going to be able to jump on a Siler here. Can they blow him up in time? They almost got it. They get a little bit more. They do get him. The Chakram. Pull back from Limp is going to be enough. And now...
Go down mid.
Make sure Death is actually going to be able to find more. An aggressive teleport in. He's going to be able to catch Fenrir. He may give up his life for this one. Now the Reaper Scythe is going to come in. Death again, the Shallow Grave. And look at him. He's going to dance his way back to the fountain. A TP away, and he's good. Can Limp get out as well? Looks like he's okay. What a 4-step up to the high ground. Z-Freak, no way. All of compLexity get out.
Okay, so somehow now they have a win. Siler, who hadn't died once since the beginning of the game. That is a costly death.
Yes.
Because even though you're 7K up, buybacks are what matter in Dota at this point. The Morph will take your base so fast. And what a swing. So now the 70-30 I said, I'd say it goes to like 65-35. I say it goes to like 60-40 now.
So still in Aster's favor.
I still think it is in Aster's favor because that was the ideal situation, right?
Yeah.
They killed the TB, 0 support on his side.
And again, much like most of the game, they don't have to do anything at this point. They can just sit on their high ground, and that win condition that compLexity have will evaporate eventually.
Yes.
You just need 7 minutes for that buyback to come out.
What you have to do now is,
Whoa, Fenrir a little far out here. Z-Freak does have the Avalanche now. Nice force staff. Again, Mushi bailing out his teammate. Chakram, oh no, he's going to be the one tossed back. Fenrir does manage to get the stomp away. Mushi is going to be able to get the ghost round, keeping himself away from those Morphling right clicks. And now the Stampede going down. compLexity back up a little bit.
I bet you wish you had that cheese. Okay. So that's something.
So
that's crazy.
compLexity can wait for Roshan.
Yeah,
right? There's so much time.
So now, because of that death, this has had such a big ripple effect. Now you can just go for the Roshan, and if you force Aster out and they use inopportune buybacks, the game might just end in your favor now. And this is contingent though on Miracle having buyback, because you need to be able to out buyback the course. This is what it's going to come down to at this point.
Wow. They're going to fly Courier over, spot that Roshan is indeed up. This will also mean Refresher Shard.
Yes. There's only 3 people with buyback in the game right now. 2 of them are on the side of Aster, but...
Actually, none of their team is really great with Refresher Shard.
Yeah. So, okay, so if you're Aster, I mean, you probably don't want to give this up for free.
But at the same time, you're fighting outside of your base. Like,
oh, this is rough.
It's already tight. They've already taken it.
What a nice back and forth game. This has been a fun one. You give the cheese to Limp. You probably just keep the Refresher on your Morph, honestly. He's not the best carrier, but double Manta, double Ed. Oh,
jump in once again from Z-Freak. He knows all he has to do is start a fight, but oh, Jesus, Siler, that's a double damage. Oh no, compLexity. You thought you could take any fight you wanted, but a fight on top of a shrine with a double damage Terror Blade. Miracle. Oh, what a reverse side. They're going to make sure he can't wait for him right away, but he still managed to get out. He's away.
Flee.
Oh, XXS, he's on the hunt. Bomika, he has so many disables. Nice Lotus Orb out, but Jesus.
He doesn't have buyback.
He was full strength morphed.
Oh, he has 72
so
surplus.
He had no armor.
He just got buyback. Okay. So he has buyback. They can hold this for now. They won't have the tiny up for 3 minutes. What a game.
This crit pickup from Siler, by the way, I just love it.
Oh, the
it was such a smart choice against the...
All right, so Miracle goes to the buyback. He still has the Refresher, to my knowledge. Yes, he does. So we can...
Aster, are you going to try and go high ground? I don't think so, right?
No.
You go back to the old, let's just get our buyback on Terror.
Wait the 4 minutes. The TB will have buyback. The cool thing about buybacks is, like, there's very designated timers, right? It's now the TB plays around his. You just wait if you're Aster, because you know it'll come up before Miracles. Like, you know very much when Miracle can
You will
play.
have a 4-minute window.
Yeah. And that is massive because now it allows you to play on the map, and now it switches the game.
So now compLexity, once again, like most of the game, they're in the position where they have to make moves.
Yeah.
Right?
And what Cole did there was, it was the classic, we have Aegis, any fight is a good fight.
Yes.
It's not even that bad of an idea. It's just a lot of teams make that error thinking like, oh, well, we found any sort of initiation. I'll toss somebody back. Even if I die, it'll be okay. But fighting in that shrine area, having to go high ground, filtering heroes in one by one, there's no easy way to approach that fight.
And even that, maybe that still could have been okay if it wasn't for the fact that there was a double damage on Siler. Like, that just sealed it. Like, instantly, it was like, okay, that's not winnable.
Yeah. I'm just trying to say that you can explain all of these moves. Like when Siler died, he was trying to push in the mid lane. He thought that, he was safe probably because they were trying to go for the Roche area. When, Limp goes in, I'm assuming he thought like, well, I'm unkillable this entire game. And that time right there, compLexity just thought, well, we have the Aegis advantage. Yeah. Even if I go in and die, as long as I can disrupt the fight, maybe it's okay. But Aster were patient. They fought in the perfect choke point. It was impossible for compLexity to engage them up there. And that's what this is coming down to now from both teams, is who's more patient, who feels rushed, who feels antsy.
Well, we're going to have plenty of level 25 talents coming in. Do Do any of them really change the game for you? You've got Necrophosis, that's pretty bad. Like, cooldown, all right, whatever. The Terrorblade now has the extra attack range. He didn't go for the Sunder cooldown. Do you agree, disagree?
I think because... maybe. Maybe he thinks because there's not a ton of disable and burst damage, he's okay without. I'm not sure. I feel like the Sunder...
Like that much range means you can just always lay into somebody.
Yeah.
Always lay into that. Like, how does the Morphling really get anywhere close to you?
Plus, when you have Scotty versus heroes like Tiny and stuff, it makes it really hard for them to get close.
Okay, this is an interesting play. Look at this, Aster.
Do they have travels?
As safe as you thought they would. They're going to go for the smoke up here.
They're
showing Necrophos and bottom with the boots of travel.
Okay, this is an ambitious move. They don't have buyback on Terrorblade, but they're playing for the win, and this might actually just trick compLexity into thinking...
They have an Arcane Rune on the Terrorblade.
Yeah.
So...
This is a really neat move by Aster. I like it. They're playing for the win right now, Cap.
Yeah, and compLexity are looking at this, and they're not sure what is this Necrophos doing.
They have to be confused, because they know that if somebody held down the timer, they know TB doesn't have a buyback.
Yeah.
And yet they're making this aggressive play. And so from their perspective, I think they're kind of frozen. They're like, do we fight that? But TB's going to have buyback now.
What's going on?
And I think if you're Aster, you can continue to make aggressive plays on the move because now you do have the buyback. I think that was a really cool sort of mind game play, though.
Yeah. And it was a minute and some change.
Yeah.
So even if you did lose that fight as Aster, you probably weren't going to lose the game.
If you take an aggressive fight on the enemy side of the base with a minute left to go on your buyback, it's probably all right. Yeah. But it was just, you know, you can appreciate moves like that being made.
It was like they were playing the margin so much that it probably could have surprised other teams, and compLexity, well, fortunately for them, they didn't take that bait.
Yeah.
But now it's compLexity, all high ground defense for 4 minutes unless they want to try and do something.
And Cole's just afraid to do any moves around the map, because even though they were the aggressors for the majority of this game, they know they're put on the timer because Miracle just doesn't have buyback. He has to wait this out. He can't really do anything without it. And this is going to allow Aster now to just get aggressive everywhere on the map. They're going to get whatever they want for free. They've already taken the shrine. They know the buyback timer's plenty.
Mjolnir almost complete for the Nature's Prophet.
The best part about this, too, is that Aster's going to have the Roshan timing in their favor. Because it could potentially spawn in 2 minutes. I would like Cole to potentially just go for it anyways. That's what Aster did, right? Where they just went for the fight anyhow.
Yeah. It could be up in 2 minutes. You'll have a minute left on your Morphling. I'm very surprised that Aster aren't trying to push this more. They do manage to get a long-range initiation onto Limp. Now Limp still has that cheese. If he can actually just keep alive, the Shallow Grave's going to be there. Now just activate that cheese, or maybe he just won't have the time. There's too many disables. And nobody can stop Bobica from just sitting there and shackling for years.
Bobica's... he's got the talents for it, right? Yup. 125 cast range, plus 2.5 second. He's going to drop the wards. I don't know if they know that Limp doesn't have buyback, but at this point, this should confirm it. There's a bounty rune in 30.
60 gold. Yeah. Just wait for the bounties, baby. Mushi, get a TP up to the top lane. Get those creeps pushed back in to the tier 3. See if they can take the Megas. How is compLexity going to be able to solve this? Look at him. Sylar's so far back that Z-Freak's going to struggle just to even if he wanted to blink initiate on Sylar with a meta up. I'm not sure if he could actually get back there.
You can go back for
look at these mass. Glimmer Cape, they're going to be able to find death. Bobica's got him. He's all by himself. That's 7.5 seconds of disable.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, okay.
Set it up again.
Next round of Shackle. Just let him sit there for a while.
Interesting.
Think about what he did. I mean, hey, they weren't able to get
a regen for Bobica.
Uh-oh.
Look at that. That's neat.
Z-Freak TPing out. He's going to be okay. Double damage for Sylar.
You probably force a fight with this, right?
And 60 seconds on meta, though.
80 seconds on buyback for Morph, though. And 2 heroes down. I think this is not the worst opportunity you could ask for.
But you lose the fight, you could be losing Roshan, too.
That's true. But, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
That's not Aster's. That's not Aster's motto whatsoever.
Just a DDTB. I feel like you have to go for this. There's 2 heroes dead. You can force a buyback on NP at the very least, and then you can make your decision after that. Look at how fast he takes down that tower.
All right, he's going to buy back now. Siler, you going to back up, or are you just going to keep going? He's going to BKB and just take Megas. Woo, that's so much damage. Limp and the rest of compLexity now need to force a fight, but how can they catch these heroes? They're just going to stampede away. Limp can keep chase, yes, but he doesn't have any disables really to slow him down. And now, maybe he's too far forward. Oh, Limp, is this happen again? Seafreak's going to try and come in. Avalanche, there goes the cheese. He does manage to get the full health this time around. Refresher shard used by Miracle as well for a fresh round of BKB and blows up Fenrir. Limp, got to be careful of Siler here. They're going to try and stay away from that Terrorblade who's used Metamorphosis and see if they can re-engage sometime soon. That's going to be Seafreak finding another opportunity. Death also teleporting in, but now Siler's going to play inside of the Roshan pit with that long meta range. But again, compLexity, they just can't decisively take this fight to Siler.
Oh, and they found
Seafreak managed to get the Force Staff into the Roshan pit. He's going to be okay for now. They're just dodging Siler as much as possible. XSS couldn't really get the stomp out. Activates that Crimson Guard. Looks like on the left-hand side, they managed to catch the Dazzle. Once again, Bobaca in great position. Limp in the back lines. Now been hexed up, and the rest of the team can turn around and focus him down. Managed to get the long Timber Chain away. Bloodstorm activated. Bloodstorm activated as well, but it doesn't matter. compLexity have called it here. They know they can't stop the Mega Creeps that are currently inside of their base. Team Aster, 52-minute victory. It was a grueling one. There's a lot of boring moments for Aster, but an exciting finish.
Yeah, and what they did was they were just like, well, we'll be more patient than you. We know that eventually you'll make a mistake. I mean, they just rode out the storm. Siler farmed brilliantly this game. He was very patient. They didn't have the best ward coverage for him either, but he was so patient about it. And compLexity, I mean, I felt like they were in an okay state in this game. They just got over-eager. And even then, they were given an opportunity to win this game again once they got the Aegis and the cheese and the no buyback on the TP.
Yeah.
Then they made that mad move into the Shrine that sort of just ended all their hopes. If you don't make that play, you know, you've got that full Aegis timing. That was an immediate move right after the Aegis happened. It was like, we got the Aegis, let's just go for a fight. But you have time. That's what you have on your side when you've got the Aegis. You have time to set up fights like that.
I want to give a shout out to Mushi in this game. There was never a point where he wasn't top 3 in net worth. And I'm not sure how you do that. Like Siler, we talked at length about how good he was at being able to move around the map and find farm, and you know, that was Siler's specialty. But if he's taking so much of the farm and the map is being controlled by compLexity, then where's Mushi finding his farm as well? Just crazy that this 1 and 2 position of Aster were able to stay either ahead or neck and neck in net worth wise against compLexity.
And for Cole, I think that's a pretty disappointing loss. It's like, you put a lot of pressure on Siler. He died 3 times to start. Then, you know, he didn't get touched for the majority of the game. I think he died like maybe twice since that moment. It didn't really affect things. And Miracle had a pretty good game. He was 6-2 and 7, but you're just never going to keep up with TB's farm at that pace, right? And he actually only died once after that.
It's crazy that compLexity, you know, through this group stage, some of their wins have come against some of the strongest teams in crazy long games, but against Aster here, it seems like time was their downfall. So with that, that is game 1. Now these two teams were tied up before this series, so we still have a game 2. Hopefully compLexity can bounce back after a rough loss.
Indeed, thank you very much, gents. We'll return, of course, back to our commentary team for game number 2. Let's get some thoughts now from Nahaz and Kyle. Kyle, where do you want to start?
I mean, I've seen that game
a couple of hundred times.
Yeah,
yeah, he really has. It's not.
You have a higher degree of execution with the Cole lineup. Yeah, you can kill TB, you can kill him again, you can kill him again, but the supports on the side of Aster scale exponentially better than yours. You have a Prophet that's going teamfight items. You're that one mistake away from equilibrium, and at that point, you will lose just based on the nature of the matchups. You just get outscaled.
Well, let's be like, when we talk about, because we talk about these concepts like reach and catch and scaling all the time. Let's be a little more specific. Like the numbers for Bobaca in this one were not pretty, right? He's 2, 8, and 10 at least through 50 minutes. But when you talk about a Rasta, reach and catch. He's like a range extender, man. I mean, this 11 seconds of single target lockdown, all of a sudden it feels like you have so much time to get your other cores in position to convert these kills.
Yeah, and it's the ease. It's the same one we saw in the Mineski Forward series, specifically that game 1, where the draft from Mineski is such that they're not like they're out team fighting you, they're out damaging you, and then they have this ability to just poke, throw out an X, a torrent, a stun. Somebody's gonna die. That Rasta gives you the exact same, where, you know, Limp Timber Chain's out of base, and immediately he's hexed. And now Cole's, you're in a spot where, yeah, you can grave him, but he's getting locked down for like 20 straight seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
so you just let him die. There's nothing you can do, and you have one hero that can actually make plays, and that's the Z-Freak Tiny. And there's just nothing you can do once it's that late in the game. Baboka's not going to get picked off at the onset of a team fight.
I still feel, though, like we're talking about this game as if it were some kind of foregone conclusion. I think Cole had a window here. Aster pushed a couple of fights early on onto the Radiant side of the map where they weren't able to convert those kills. Part of it was that Fenrir did not have a point in aura at level 4, so they missed a kill on Timbersaw early, and that gave Cole a real window to get onto that dire side of the map. But the problem, Caster said it several times with this kind of lineup, you're just almost by definition on the clock.
Yeah.
And you're also putting your eggs in the basket of a hard carry in Morphling who does not want to be playing against an ET in the late game.
No, definitely not. And that's why it was such a questionable pick in my eyes, because you already are in a position where you're not outscaling the enemy lineup. And it's nice to have a Morph versus the TB, sure, but they have a last pick Necro that helps to identify and deal with that win condition. And in addition, there's an ET, as you said. So you're not doubling down on the part of the game that I feel like you need to if you're going to actually win this game. You've got to go all in on this concept of we have Furion, we have Tiny, we have a Timbersaw. We're going to get ahead. 20, 25 minutes, we're going to try and win this game. I'd rather see, even though it's a poor matchup, like a Jug, right?
Same thing. Now, I have that here in my head.
Now you can buy a Yasha into like a Maelstrom, and you're all of a sudden playing top lane. They have no BKB piercing disables except for the Scythe. You're going to be able to spin, get away. Like you apply tempo, the healing word with the Timbersaw. You just might win the game, but when you're playing with the Prophet that's going like Pipe and Vlad's, and your Timber's rushing Hood, and then you have a Morphling going man to E-Blade, it just doesn't make sense. Your power spikes don't link up like they need to ever be confident you can win the game at a specific timing. Because again, after 30 minutes, you're out of time.
Yeah. It's the saving grace here, Kyle, is that they do only need one of the 2 games, thanks to the performance they put in last night against Fnatic.
And hey, we're lucky, right?
Yeah.
We've had 2 of these elimination series, and in both cases, one team needed to 2-0, and we've had a meaningful game too. So this is one game for all the marbles here in terms of tournament lives.
Yeah. They've been good so far, Kyle, on those games as well. So I guess they can dig into the reserves and go, well, we did it against NIP the other night, and we did it against Fnatic last night. We can do it again today.
Yep. My version of complexity always seemed to be better in game 1s. This one seems to be all about the game 2s. I think that I like watching them play. You know, Sheev was asking Zach in the interview about, you know, something special they might have cooked up, pocket strats, things like this. The Drow last pick in the Fnatic game is a great example, and I brought this up during the cast, but that hero changes the game state. You know, it's no longer a game of Dota, it's a Drow game. Or, you know, other heroes, Tuskar, Brood. It changes how everything functions. It suddenly gives you the power not just to kill towers, but to do Roche in a matter of seconds. And you hit a point where one mistake from the enemy, you can just take over the game. I'd like to see them capitalize on this and just draft something that has a ton of threat towards enemy structures, so that Cole, when they crush through the early game like they do consistently, when you kill the enemy carry over and over, you're not just getting tier 1s and then kind of chilling in the river. You're able to just go. You have that power potential where you can have 2 heroes top, 3 heroes bottom, and know that you can't lose in both areas because the enemy side's going to need more than your numbers to be able to deal with you, or they're going to have to watch their buildings die.
Anything to add, Alan? You seem quite... Yep, I'm on board.
No, I think it goes back to... He does, and it goes back to something that I've talked a lot about with various people, including Kyle, and that's that Cole, since this man over here to my left, has played at times like a team without a sense of identity. And this is what we're talking about. Look, you're gonna sometimes go all in on these early game strats and you're gonna get beat, but at least that's your identity.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a solid first 4 picks and then kind of pivot back to this Morphling that in some ways takes away from some of the win conditions that you've established to that point in the draft.
Exactly. Right, well, I'm glad you phrased that, because they might need an identity. But if they've got an identity, it's that they win the tough games when they absolutely have to. They beat NIP on the opening day as the last game of the day. They also beat Fnatic as the first team to do so in Group B. Now they need to beat Aster in their final game of the group to qualify for the brackets, and that's what we've got coming up after the break.